All right. So, Jonathan Kasdan, the showrunner of the Willow series on Disney Plus, has tweeted that, in fact, the show has not been canceled. It's a very long statement. I'm just going to read. I'm going to read it or read parts of it. I'm just going to see how it goes. I don't know. Maybe that's too much reading. It's like 3 pages. The long and short of it, before we jump in there, though, is Kasdan says that Deadline's report that we all then reported on ourselves, that Willow has been canceled, is not true. That, in fact, they've never characterized it as a cancellation. It sounds like it's more of a hiatus. They're not currently producing or pre-producing it. They've released the cast. But that doesn't mean they're not going to make more. So maybe this change.org petition has some chance of swaying Disney. It seems like more than anything, it's just up in the air. I don't know. Here's what Kasdan writes. Writing to you today, one preposterously, criminally, and immeasurably lucky fool. Actually, it starts with, Dear Willow supporters and vocal opposition, you guys get in here too. I like that he does address the opposition. I like that he speaks to critics, because I feel like I'm being acknowledged, and I like to be acknowledged. As a critic, I want to point out that I am not here to destroy things, as much as it may seem that way sometimes. Yes, I called The Willow Show an abomination at one point. That's not my fault. It's the show. The show could be better, and as a critic, I want it to be better, because I want a Willow show that I can watch over and over again, that I can watch with my kids, that I can rave about to friends, that I can recommend to my readers and viewers. That's what I really want. But if it's not that, then I have no choice but to point out all the ways that a show fails. Rings of Power, if that had been an awesome show, even if it had diverted from Tolkien, that'd be great. I'd love. We don't have enough good fantasy shows, right? We just don't have enough. And so, of course, I wanted Willow to be good. And there were good things about it. I thought they did a good job with the magic. I like some of the cast. I liked Borman. I liked Elora Danan. But there were other things I hated, like putting in stupid modern pop music. It just makes no sense for this world. You could make a fantasy show where that makes sense, where you could put in Soundgarden and Metallica, and it could work. It wouldn't be something I would do personally, but if it wasn't Willow, I wouldn't care as much. But it's Willow, and they didn't do that in the movie, and it doesn't fit the tone of the world, and it's a big mistake. But as a critic, I want to be able to point out those mistakes so that they can change and improve for the next season. And sometimes we've seen that actually happen, but usually I feel like a lot of people don't read the critics. They don't read the criticism. They only listen to the yes men and the sycophants. They just bury their head in the sand and keep on doing what they're doing, even if it means they get canceled. See, I don't want shows to get canceled. I want them to get better. I don't want this. And this is another thing. When people say, and I'm going to stop rambling in a second, I promise. But when people say, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. I don't like that response, because if enough people don't watch it, that means it's going to get canceled. So if you really love something, you should not just be a fanboy and just not be critical or listen to any criticism at all. You should say, oh, you know what? Like, maybe some of this criticism is a good thing, and it means we should, that if they listen and they make changes, maybe more people will watch this show that we love, and that means we'll get more of this show that we love. The whole debate around Willow has devolved into this, like, if go woke, go broke, versus everyone who hates it is a bigot. And it's like a little microcosm of the wider pop culture war, and it's so stupid, because the main problems with Willow are not wokeness, but cringy dialogue, bad music choices, low quality costume design, and just this whole like feeling that we're watching kind of a CW show rather than a spiritual successor to Willow, or a sequel to Willow, really. The fact that there is a lesbian couple in there, or a little more diversity, doesn't really honestly affect the show at all, except for that couple, those characters feel a little extraneous. Like I said in a previous video, I think it would have been better if Elora and just one of the other female characters, maybe they had a romance instead of having so many characters in the first season of this show. Anyways, let's get to this. Dear Willow supporters and vocal opposition, you guys get in here too. Writing to you today, one preposterously, criminally, and immeasurably lucky fool. The outpouring of kind words, support, and passion for our shabby, idiosyncratic little show has been nothing short of mind-blowing and profoundly moving, not just for me, but for everyone who worked their butts off on it. We're all inexpressibly grateful and thrilled that you enjoy watching it almost as much as we enjoy making it. Even those of you who didn't enjoy it, yet stuck with it for 8 hours to critique each episode and let us know exactly which choices you weren't a fan of. That too is its own incredibly specific form of flattery, and we appreciate it. I don't think it's flattery, but it means that we're invested enough and we care enough to stick by and offer up criticism because we love Willow. As a lifelong devotee of Deadline Hollywood, I also appreciate that punchy headlines drive clicks. So I understand how Willow, canceled after one season on Disney Plus, is fun and juicy. However, as I'm nearly certain I've had more conversations about this in the last couple of weeks than Nelly Andreeva, of whom I remain an ardent fan, I feel fairly confident that if asked, neither I nor the folks at Lucasfilm would or have actually characterized it quite that way. The truth is less splashy, but here it is. A decision was made last week to release our main cast for other series opportunities that may arise for them in the coming year. With all the TV and movies in production around the world, it feels unfair to limit an actor's availability without a clear sense of when you're going to need them again. It's further trivialized by the simple reality that the scripts we've been working on require just as many actors from our first season, with whom no such contractual hold exists. Nothing prevented Annabelle Davis, for example, from taking another show, but you better believe Mims appears in every single Volume 2 chapter. If you're asking what this means for you as a viewer or me as the creator, here's what I think it means. Due to forces much larger and more intricate than I would ever pretend to fully understand, production of streaming shows is slowing down across the entire industry, and Willow won't resume filming in the next 12 months. But here's what's equally true. With the enthusiastic and unwavering support of Lucasfilm and Disney, we've developed and written what we hope is a brain-meltingly fun, richer, darker, and better Volume 2, which builds on the characters and story of our first 8 chapters. The Worm Survives. Volume 2 is all about courage, desire, acceptance, and the comedy and beauty to be found in even the darkest places and moments. It's about the enemies we must inevitably confront, both without and often far more insidiously from within. But above all, it's about the ineffable and enduring magic of friendship. I am confident I speak for everyone involved when I say that we'd all like nothing more than to deliver Volume 2 on the scale expected and demanded by the story we're telling. Are we going into pre-production? Not right now. Does that mean we're never going to make it? Absolutely not. 3 weeks ago, we got a third season of Party Down, 13 years after season 2. Between seasons 2 and 3 of Atlanta, 4 years. Curb Your Enthusiasm, seasons 8 and 9, had a hiatus of 6 years. Not to mention this little movie I love called Willow that didn't get its well-deserved sequel for 35 years. I'm going to take a quick break and just point out 35 years. I've waited over 3/4 of my life for the sequel. So when I talk about feeling disappointed with the show, because it's one of my favorite movies of my entire life, it's because I waited 35 years for it. So when I get upset with this show and some of the choices made, this is why. 35 years. Anyways. Perhaps the one thing Hollywood has consistently been great at over its entire history is servicing the appetites, no matter how obscure, of its consumers. And I have total confidence that if an appetite for more Willow persists, Disney, Lucasfilm, and this amazing cast and crew will satisfy it. That little passage right there suggests to me that this is a real gray area. It may not have been canceled, but it certainly has not been renewed. Right? There's a gray area. The cast is released. They're not in pre-production. They're writing the scripts. But there's nothing to say that this will get made. He said if the appetite persists, and that's up to a bunch of suits who control the money. So it may not have been canceled, but don't take that to mean it's been renewed. Is now the best moment to campaign/demand more? I don't really think so. I recommend preserving your outrage for the many real outrages in the world. The entertainment industry is in a moment of radical global upheaval. That's true. The terrain ahead is unknown, but I do think enthusiasm for the show will still be meaningful a year from now. Or 2, definitely. as are all the people you recommend Willow to that can enjoy it whenever they want. But declaring it dead in the cultural in which we now live feels frankly as anachronistic as, I don't know, putting a Soundgarden cover in a fantasy show. Now, Jonathan, I know you're making light of this, but please stop putting Soundgarden covers in your fantasy show. Please stop it. If you could just change one thing about this show, it would be that. In fact, I would go back through every episode of this show in season 1 and replace those damn modern pop and rock songs with some really great instrumental score that harkens back to James Horner's original score of the Willow movie, which was so unique and so wonderful. I don't care what you think of the movie. Listen to that score. It is a beautiful score. I have never heard anyone say anything. Even people who don't like the movie have nothing to say bad about the score. So come on. There's some great composers out there. Get them in here. Get them working on this and get rid of this dumb, horrible pop music. Like, it just doesn't belong in this universe any more than dungaree hats or printed tees or whatever. Like, come on. Especially during the episodes. In the credits, okay, I can almost live with that. But in an episode, like, come on. Okay. As for me personally, I've been working on Willow for nearly 5 years. I've had the privilege of playing in sandboxes built by George Lucas and stewarded with deepest care and love by Kathy Kennedy for 9 years. If you've hated the castles I've built or helped build in those sandboxes, this news should come as a tremendous relief and welcome respite. If you've enjoyed some of it and want more, I promise you that whatever I have to offer will only be cooler, funner, and more exciting for the momentary break I'm now afforded. I know the fandom can be divisive. I know sometimes people say mean things, but I got to tell you, from deep inside, that has not been my experience at all. I love all you guys, and I relate and identify with every single person who is passionate about Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow, even if we crave slightly different things from them. I think an open dialogue and fan involvement only enriches these worlds as they grow larger, fuller, and more inclusive. I have the best job in the world, and if you think I don't deserve it, you're absolutely right. No one deserves to have this much fun at work. I love everyone I've had the tremendous good fortune to collaborate with these past 9 years, and I couldn't be more excited for what lies ahead. Ignore the bird, follow the river. I promise it'll take you where you need to go. I think that's a pretty good statement. I'm not going to lie. I like his attitude. I mean, it's very positive, and man, I got to tell you, for as much as I was let down by the first season, I would love to see more Willow and just see it get better. I would love them to take seriously some of these critiques that people like me and of course myself have offered for free. Because you have some good stuff here, guys. You have Borman, you have Elora Danan, you have Willow. You know, you have some good villains, some good monsters to work with. There's some stuff in there that I really did enjoy. And if you lean into that and pull back from some of the other the cringy modern dialogue and the modern music, and you just lean into what makes, lean into these ideas of friendship and all the rest. Fun, swashbuckling adventure, friendship, courage, facing inner demons, all of that stuff, that's good. More of that. And less, just all the cringy, cheesy shit. It can be a little cheesy. It can be a little more modern than Tolkien. All those things are true. That the original movie was like that, but you gotta find that tone, and the tone, it was missing through most of the season. So look, I hope they do make more, and I hope that they do learn from the mistakes in the first season. I really do. But I guess we'll see. Thanks for watching. What do you think? Let me know. Peace. Oh, and do like and subscribe, won't you? Hit the notification bell. And have a lovely, lovely weekend.